Good morning. It's still pretty early. I woke up at 10 to 4. What can I say? I have some issues. So, it's Sunday. Sunday, we always remember the bigger picture. Why are we doing all this stuff? Why do we learn all of this anchoring? Why do we use all of this? Because it helps us manage our state and it helps us get past our limiting beliefs. Let's remember that desire from its Latin means of the Father. So Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, if you can conceive it and you can believe it, you can achieve it. And that was actually very controversial when he wrote it back in the 1930s. Now, we've heard that quote so many times that we don't really think as much about it. And when you think about Thomas Edison, when you think about Walt Disney, then, we kind of go, okay, well, that quote makes a lot more sense. But stop and think about it, and think about it for a minute. If you can conceive it and you can believe it, you can achieve it. And how many times have we talked about somebody from the Wright brothers to NASA to Edison to any of these people that came up with an idea and they believed in the idea even though nobody said that it was possible. And through persistence and will and desire, they were able to create something that we now all talk about. Remember Charlie Younger, Warren Buffett's partner, was asked about Tesla. I told you this story. And he said, it's not a stock that I'm ever going to invest in. It's not what Berkshire Hathaway does. We don't invest in companies like that. But I would never, ever, ever short the stock because I learned watching Walt Disney that you never get in the way of a genius who overestimates himself. Because that's what Walt was and that's what Walt did. And the same is now true with Elon. We're watching a man create an industry out of nothing. Remember, he didn't even go to school for this stuff. He taught himself how to build a rocket ship. I mean, think about that. He didn't go to school to learn how to build a rocket ship. He taught himself how to do it, reading his own books. I mean, this is a real-life Tony Stark. And he's doing this just out of sheer belief in his abilities. Desire comes from a Latin root that means of the Father. So what that really means is that if it's something that you truly desire, you're not given that desire without also being given the corresponding tools and ability to go manifest that desire into reality. So all of these things that we do where we learn how to manage our state, where we learn how to do all of this stuff, let's remember the bigger picture. My cat is saying hi this morning. Let's remember the bigger picture that whatever it is that is truly in your heart, you're not given that desire without given the ability to go figure out how to make that happen. And if you truly believe that, because now you can conceive it, if you truly believe it, then you will be able to go figure it out. It's just a matter of now actually going and doing it. All of these tools that we learn on a regular basis for state management, whether it's neurolinguistic programming or whether it's transformational vocabulary or whether it's learning how to anchor yourself, all of those are tools to help you on your way. But the bigger picture is you got to stay focused on what it is that your heart really wants. When we do a goal setting exercise, one of the things that we'll remind people is people, especially around where I live, especially in the northern Midwest in the United States, they will want to always stay practical. So they'll write down their goals. And if they have a goal to learn how to play the piano or learn how to fly a helicopter or learn how to sculpt or paint, they won't put that down because they'll say it's not practical. It doesn't get me closer to my goal, whatever that is. But remember, we don't know what that path is. We only know where we're headed. And many times, those additional little areas actually give you something that really is a requirement to achieving that ultimate goal. Remember the Steve Jobs example where he dropped out of college, could take anything he wants, so he did the calligraphy classes. I talked about this like last week. Doing that, he fell in love with fonts and he fell in love with that side of writing, which ultimately put that in his computers that he ended up doing, which he had no idea he was going to do at that time. Remember, he didn't come up with the computer, Woz did. He just knew that he wanted to make a dent in the universe. And when Woz came up with the computer, he was the one that had the idea, everybody needs one of these in their home. At the same time that Bill Gates had the same idea. Those guys both had that idea at about the same time. And they both accomplished it, but in different ways. Gates put more computers in people's homes. Jobs put computers in people's homes that did different things. So they both had an idea, and it showed up, and then they were able to take it and run. For Gates, he found the computer and then said, this needs to go into everybody's home. For Jobs, it was, I need to do something that makes a dent in the universe. And then his buddy invented a computer, and then Jobs went, all right, this needs to go in everybody's home. But if you were to be with him when he's a dropout in college and he's taking calligraphy classes, you would say to yourself, well, this guy is not on the path to putting a dent in the universe. But in fact, he was. Somehow those things all connected and worked themselves out. Keep the bigger picture in mind. What is it that you want in your life? Where is it that you want to go? And trust that your path is going to get there. But if you believe that you can do something, then you can. And if you're given the desire to do something, then you are given the corresponding talents to make it there. You've just got to put forth the effort. And many times, if it's something big, that effort is gargantuous. The business people that I know that have created businesses out of nothing, and I know many of them, it is a Herculean effort. I've got a buddy that started a business out of his garage when he was 18 years old, 19 years old, that he's now sold for a huge pile of money. And I mean, that is just an act of sheer will. It takes an incredible amount of effort. But it wouldn't be worth it if it didn't. If it was easy, how fulfilling would it be? The fact that it's incredibly difficult is what makes it worthwhile. I just redid a building in my hometown, and I just moved in 2 weeks ago. And that started with an idea, that started with a desire that I put into action, and then many other people picked up the ball for me and did all kinds of stuff, and now it's manifested into a reality. And we took this dilapidated old building built in 1892, and we've totally resurrected it, and it's now this beautiful structure that I get to practice law out of as one of my offices. And, when you see something like that manifest, I see why Walt Disney got so addicted to it. I see why he built thing after thing after thing after thing. Because, to have this idea and then to put it into action, it's very fun. It's really cool. It's very rewarding. So remember today, on the day of faith, a lot of people today will be focusing on their faith, that desire is put there, and it's put there so that you can fulfill what is the maximum capability for you. Remember the Marine Corps example that I gave you. Look around when you're driving around, and there'll be somebody, and now it's probably somebody in their 80s, that'll have a sticker on the back of their car that say, not as lean, not as clean, but still a Marine. And they will look back to their days in the Marine Corps with incredible fondness, even if they were in active combat. And you say to yourself, how can that be? Why would you look back on that and and look back and say that's one of the best parts of my life. It's because it was during that time that they lived life at their highest standards. They were the most of themselves. And that's really what it's all about. All of these tools are designed to make it so that you can become the most of yourself. And when you are living at your highest standards, that's when we are most proud of who we are. So my message to you today is, if you've got that desire, no matter what it is, no matter how crazy it may seem, if you've got that desire, you've got that ability. And when we live life by our higher standards, that's when we are most proud of ourselves and feel the best about who we are. When we're not living life by our standards, that's when we're upset and depressed and beat ourselves up. So for all of us, including me, these conversations help me as much as they help anybody else, probably more. Live your life by your highest standards and follow that burning desire that you have in your heart and in your head, with the faith that, in fact, whatever that crazy thing is that you want to achieve, you can, in fact, go do it. Have a great Sunday, everybody. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other. Thanks for watching.